What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. It's episode number 19. Loads to get through today with the January transfer window now open. Might make some signings with 30 mil in the budget. More games in the Premier League, aiming to build on what's been a pretty decent run to be fair, despite 2 losses in our last 3 games. We start with this, FA Cup third round away against Marco Silva's Fulham at Craven Cottage. I'm loving how Liberato, who's just received the ball here, is still in my team after the signing back in mid-January in Season 1. There is something about signing players who you know literally nothing about and end up becoming pretty decent players. You don't need to be world stars, but still players, but still players who are, oh, gut in, Stefan, have a role to play for all of your years you're with that team. But, yeah, I know nothing about him, but he's holding his own in the left-back role. And gets a lot of minutes as well. I love that. I really think sometimes going outside the box, going for players who you know nothing about, can really add some spice and some unpredictability to a career mode save. And that is going to do it. Wow, really poor game. Absolutely terrible. But another clean sheet to be fair. Our defense has really picked up since the start of the season. It was a massive negative and now it's becoming a big strength. And as we'll get ourselves back to the main menu, we'll now see the draw directly afterwards. And you know, I've said this before, but to me, scrapping cup replays, massive, massive props to the FA, because as far as I'm concerned, that is a long overdue and correct thing to implement. But in the last 32, we'll take on Hull City, Tigers, away in the northeast. Okay, bring them on. Right, yeah, decent run this for Leicester right now. Not just defensively, but in terms of wins as well. We've really picked up our form after a terrible start to the season. And now taking on Manchester United at home, we just beat them at Old Trafford. And based on our form recently, I think we can complete the season sweep here. Eric Ten Hag's side comes to King Power, where a win in this game could possibly put us in 11th place. Let's get the win and keep this form going. 23 in, still deadlocked at 0-0. Rauho does well to win that header there. And Tab Sober is always going to be in Caesar. I don't know why I even went for the header. That was clearly only going to go one way. As Kim Min-jae's effort is patted down and pounced on by Aaron Ramsdale. That's when you know it's like, bro. Know your level, you know, there's no shame in it. Know your level, know your physical limit. There was no way I was going to win that, but to be fair, it's led to a break down this left-hand side. Alex Iwobi's going to go all the way. It's still Iwobi, cuts inside, Kim Min-jae makes the block, headed away, and Sizzo once again loses out in the air, unsurprisingly. And Sumari can't beat Ugarte either. Yeah, some players are technical magicians. Stick to that if you haven't got the physicality. Kubo, 1-0. Brilliant finish, Manchester United in front. I don't know what ex-pro was talking about this recently. I want to say Fernando Torres, but I might just be plucking that name out of thin air. But it was someone that was saying that nowadays in modern day football at the top level, you know, you've got to be an elite athlete. You know, there's no more room for, you know, there's certain players who could just get by based on their technical ability and their flair alone. I disagree with that personally. Now, don't get me wrong, I do understand the game's become a lot more physical over the years, and rightfully so. And it's good to see players pushing their bodies even further. And getting more out of themselves athletically, that's good in my opinion, but I disagree. I think there are still places for players like this who don't exactly have much in... Oh, what a finish at the near post. Don't exactly have much in the way of physicality. Sizzo certainly doesn't. He's 5'8", he's not got any strength, and his stamina isn't the best either, but you know, the reason why he's in my team isn't for any of those things. It's for things that you've just seen there. The dribbling, the flair, as he catches Chevalier out of the near post and gets us back on level terms. There's still a place for players like this. I understand as the game becomes more physical and also a lot more tactical as well. Players with this kind of, you know, skill set might be becoming rarer. You know, those old school 10s, if you will, you know, but they're still in effect. The game might now be more tactical than ever before and strong physicality preferred from all outfield players, but as far as I'm concerned, there will always be a place for players like this if they're good enough. Pure creativity and flair still has a place in football, and Julio says I'll show that in abundance to help us get that leveler. 1-1, and now on to the next one. Staying at home as Crystal Palace comes to King Power. This has been a really impressive run since the turn of December. Only 2 defeats, I think, in about 9 or 10 games now. Let's keep it going. Another big win here against Oliver Glasner's side. I don't think we're going to make a run in the second half of the season for Europe. I think our start was too bad to recover from. But there's no reason why we can't finish top 10. And, oh, player might be dropped. We're on that kind of form right now. So, ultimately, just got to keep winning. Got to keep winning. Our home form's picked up. Our defence has picked up. And if the wins keep picking up, yeah, there's no reason we can't be a top 10 team. Possibly even going for a 9th or 8th place finish. Great start. Just let's look at the opener. Some really difficult decisions to make in the second half of the season though, because I don't know how to fit all of my attacking pieces into the team. We've got Facundo, we've got Julio Cesar, we've got Fatale, we've got Mavididi, we've got Iwobi, but also I'm keeping my eyes on the progression. Oh, brilliant build-up, and the finish, Leslie, of Susak, who's out on loan at Sheffield United, who, by the way, has now grown to 78 overall. So in this team, will be good enough to get a lot of game time, if not always starting and off the bench as well. That's a wonderful build-up, though, and Leslie gets his second of the season to put us deservedly in front. Foxes are rolling right now. Yeah, it's a really, really difficult one, because ultimately someone's going to have to get sold. Like, let's just be honest here. We've already found it difficult to give everyone enough game time to keep them all happy, but Iwobi, Mavididi, Fatawu, Buonanotte, Julio Cesar. Someone's going to have to go. And out of all of those, you'd say, based on the age, oh, what a finish, Munoz. It will be Iwobi, but I really like him. It's starting to slow down a little bit, to be fair. Palace with the leveller, getting the point. And back in Season 1, I would have called it a decent result. You know the phrase I love, extra point on the board, but now only one win in the league in our last 5 games. I talk about it a lot, man, but life's all about perspective. Our undefeated streak has been really, really good. Only 2 defeats in about 10 games, but in terms of wins, again, 1 in 5 in the league. Glass half full, glass half empty. At the moment, it's definitely empty. Yeah, you look at the table right now, 16 games to go, and we're just as close to the top 7 as we are to the bottom 3. We're 9 points off Manchester United in that Europa Conference League spot, but also we're 9 points off Wolves, who are our next opponents, in 18th as well. So we're just as likely to go down as we are to finish in a European spot. As things stand at the moment, mid-table is looking very likely indeed, but my new ambition now is getting the top 10. Forget what the board said, man, Europa League. We're not going to do that. My ambition is for the first time to say getting the top 10. The only way we do that, though, is winning these bankers here. Yet following contest, Wolves in what is our 3rd game of a 4-game homestand, aiming for a big victory that will get us further clear of the bottom 3 and keep our slim European dreams alive. What I don't want to do is have another season like last year, where in the final 8, 9, 10 games or whatever, there's basically nothing to play for. Like, last year, there was, a very slim possibility we could go down, but realistically, it was incredibly unlikely. And I want to make sure this year there's something to fight for in the final few games. Maybe it is a slight shot at Conference League football in 7th, even if it's just trying to get in the top 10, just something that makes the final run in, yes, a little bit more important. Durasim with the goal, Leicester in front. So I've mentioned this, it's like, how do you get your players motivated? Like, ultimately they're professionals, so they've got to go for the win regardless. As straight from kick-off, Mateus levels it and Wolves have the equaliser. But, we want something to fight for. Give us that bit of extra edge. But we're not going to get that if we keep on drawing. Yeah, we're going to stay undefeated, but that's how the mindset has changed from Season 1. This is no longer a good extra point on the board. This is a disappointing 2 points dropped. Also, what's happened to our defensive stability that I was talking about earlier and praising? When I was saying, oh yeah, we've picked it up now. We're looking a lot better in the back. Are we? Really? I don't think so. Oh dear. I always say this, I can only ever do one thing at a time. Like, either I'm a high scoring team, but I concede a lot of goals, or I shut the door on everyone, but I barely score at all. That run we were in recently, we were getting a clean sheet. All of our wins were 1-0. Every single scoreline, I think. So it's no surprise now that as our goals might have picked up a little bit. Our defense has taken a step back, and that should have been another goal. What a sitter from Rafiu. Nice chance for Wolves to win it. Oh, what a ball! Mateus denied by Ramsdale. Flag stayed down. And Kuto hits the deck. No pen given. And we have just gotten away with that. Now, don't get me wrong. We are way past the 2 allocated minutes. But my goodness, I have just got away with that. That was a penalty. That was a penalty. Ball played through. Ramsdale makes the save. But I think it was Kuto. Tackled and taken down by Christiansen. No contact with the ball. Now, that is a time where I would admit I've got some good luck. We've had a lot of bad luck in that save. That's a hell of a thankful non-call. That should have been a pen. Last season we were really unlucky with a lot of refereeing decisions. I don't know how on earth that's not a penalty. That is a terrible, terrible decision. Does Christiansen get any contact with the ball at all? Maybe with a trailing left foot? No, that is a clear penalty, man. And I'll be the first to admit it. I've got away with that. Can't make Europe playing like this though. Like, it's just not going to happen. Our final game of January, Fulham at home, also in the bottom three. Win this game and we'll keep a very slim chance alive. But I think like last season, the final run-in is going to be how high can we finish. Top 10 for sure, but I think any chance of a top 7 place is, well, it's slipping through our fingers game after game really. Marco Silva's Fulham next. I think at the moment we're just feeling a little bit flat. You know, the energy has kind of dipped. And since then we haven't been able to pick it up yet. The thing about that though is that when that is the case, and you see a team or an individual, if we're talking individual sport, isn't quite, you know, clicking and performing with the same level of bounce. The thing I like about that is that it shows how much of an impact that the mental kind of attitude has on the game. But the good thing about it is that everyone can work on that. Like, everyone can pick it up. You know, if you're 5'6", for example, you can't grow yourself to 6 foot by sheer willpower alone. But you can do that with your mental attitude, your mental kind of approach to things. You know, you're a bit flat, you're a bit low on energy. You can work on that psychologically. It's why I preach things like, you know, hard work, for example, and, you know, a positive attitude, because ultimately those are things that everyone can work on. You know, that's something that everyone can go and do. And I think that it's why I get frustrated when I see people not doing it in high-level sport, because it's like, well, what more do you need, you know? Like, seriously. Ultimately, everyone has the ability, oh, Sumare, what a finish, to change things around, you know? But sometimes it's the carrot and the stick analogy, you know? Some people respond well to threats and the hypothetical stick, and some people need the promise of a reward, really. And everyone is different in that regard. When you find out what that player needs, or perhaps what the collective team needs, you got to make sure you give it to them. I think for us, we've been working with the stick in the first couple of seasons, the threat of relegation. Now it's got to be about the carrot. Promise the team, you work hard enough, you perform well enough, we'll be playing European football next season. I've always been someone that responds better to the carrot. Like, to me, you know, threats and, you know, fear of... Oh, it's Izzo! Oh, what a massive save by Kelleher. To me, that doesn't really do anything for me. It's like, you know, life's bad enough on its own. I don't need you to tell me how it's going to get worse. I don't care. At this point, I'm broken. But if you give someone like an incentive to go and actually get a reward, then watch the attitude change. And once the attitude begins to change, you'll see, if not clear results instantly, over time, I guarantee 9 times out of 10, things will pick up. Carrot and the stick, you know, you just need to know which one to give which person. Ultimately, you want everyone to give 110% regardless, but human beings aren't like that. You know, we are emotional creatures. Of course, extra incentive is going to make us work harder. And again, sometimes the incentive is out of fear of the repercussions. Sometimes it needs to be the promise of a reward. There is Simi off the bench, gives us the winner. Leicester have surely stolen it late. Yep, human beings are emotional creatures. You've got to give them an extra incentive to get extra out of them. That maybe was my problem, man. I was constantly thinking about the fear of relegation. It's like, Doxy boy, it's season 3, bro. It's time to take the next step up. Don't promise your players you'll be going down if you don't perform. Instead, go with the carrot. Promise them European football is a possibility if you start to perform at a higher level. 3-game draw streak ended. Big win against Fulham. There's no way we're going down now, but I'll say in the dressing room, perform like we did in the second half, not the first half. European football is definitely a possibility. So deadline day is here, 30 million the budget, but I don't think we'll do anything, man. I'm keeping the team as it is. However, one thing I am going to do is promote a couple of the 17-year-olds in the academy. Now, normally 16-year-olds won't ask for pro deals, but 17 and 18-year-olds often will ask for pro deals towards the end of the season. So if you've got some really good talents in the academy, this is a small tip I have, but don't leave it to chance and keep them in the youth team. My recommendation is to promote them and then try and get them loaned out. I've left it late on deadline day to loan out 3 players here. This might backfire, but in my opinion, it's better than leaving them in the academy, them asking for a pro deal at the end of the season. Because if that happens, they'll have a potential downgrade for the next season, as the game will interpret them as not playing at all in a single season, even though they only got a pro deal at the end of the season. It's a bit of a problem that EA have with this, but this is the best way to counter it, I'd say. say. And whilst I was able to get 2 of them out on loan, funnily enough, both to Italian clubs, Cosenza and Pisa, with Simmons going to the former for 2 years and Dean going to the latter for 2 years as well. Didn't manage to get the 3rd player loaned out, which means that he'll stay until the summer and will have a potential downgrade for the new season. That's why I always recommend it. Don't leave it till deadline day like I've just done there, but get your players in the academy that you really like in the first team as soon as possible and loaned out as quickly as possible too. Because you look at the loan players here, loan watch if you will, yes, you'll see some players like Cellier only going 2 ratings, for example, Golding only up by 1. Yes, sometimes the loans won't have a big upgrade, but for some players like Susak and Antazu, Alan at Red Star, that's a +8 growth there. Salmon has +5, Boucher has +5 as well, and for Susak +3 as well. They might not grow those ratings in your first team with a whole season of first team football in good form, but out on loan, look at the growth you can get if you're lucky. And I see the top deals on deadline day. Now, that is just absolutely crazy. Federico Valverde's gone back to Real Madrid from Man City for an £135.4 million deal. Gravenberch to West Ham for 70.8 mil. And Morgan Rogers, that's a little bit more realistic, I'd say, off to Spurs for £61.1 million as his tenure at Aston Villa comes to an end. Yeah, very interesting transfer to say the least. Right, speaking of youth players, 3 more scouting updates. Where from England, we shall keep scouting these 3 players for now. And from Austria, we'll keep scouting these 3 left-backs. A feature request for me with EA, by the way, is for them to be able to add a little fact that shows you how long you've scouted a player for. Because, you know, if you want to keep tabs, I'm sure you can by writing it down. But I'd like for them to say, oh, you've had 4 or 5 months worth of scouting this player. Do you want to continue or not? Helps you realise whether you know the range of attributes, if you will, is likely to decrease. You can get a better picture. Or if you've got the full kind of range, if you will, based on what your scout is able to do over the course of a few months. I'm going to give this lad a scholarship though. Di Mesquita. This is the lad from Timor-Leste I was looking for. I always say I like to get at least 1 player from every country we're scouting in those 9-month missions. There's our first from that wildcard nation. We'll see how he looks in time. Right, let's do 1 or 2 more games today following Conte's Hull away. FA Cup 4th round. Now, last season, again, we were knocked out in the 3rd round by Blackpool, so I'm not going to take as many chances as I did last year, but get through this, make the last 16, and that'll be one of our 2 board objectives here. Let's avoid the cup set for the 2nd year in a row. Last season against Blackpool, I made 10 changes, the only player that started. Oh, Steffi fires it wide. Was Hermansen between the sticks. And got knocked out by the 30th side. I'm not taking the same chance again for the rest of the save, man. That has got to be one of my worst defeats in CM ever. Definitely up there. Watch the cross. Careful. Oh, what a finish. My goodness. It's not going to happen again, is it? 2nd year in a row knocked out by an EFL side. Surely not. The only good thing is that time is well and truly on our side, but... Oh, it's a great ball through. Finish that. Oh. If my finishing continues like this, we're definitely not making it through. We should be 2-0 up. Instead, we're 1-0 down. And as Will finds for Tawu. That's all you've got to do there. Just drag that defender out. Wait for the man to run in behind. Oh, my word. And what a save. And we are still a goal down. Half an hour to go. This is ridiculous. It's one of those games. I've done all the right things, yet I'm still losing. I think we're going out. No words for this. Absolutely no words. I mean... Oh, ball. Touch. Saved again. This is ridiculous. How on earth am I still losing this game? It's only 15 to go. Oh. Oh, thank God. I mean, it is a lucky way to get the goal, but it's no less than we deserve. Thank God for that. Oh, thank you, Mr. Ryan Giles, for that absolutely awful back pass. Really fortunate way to get the leveller, but if we do go out in extra time, I'll still be fuming. I've absolutely dominated this game. Why do we even need extra time? Oh, I think it's going pens. Nothing doing in extra time. Oh! Oh my God! That is when you know. Just pack it up, mate. It's over. I can't believe I have literally taken about 12 shots and I've only scored one of them. Pack it up, man. Some games it's just written. Buonanotte puts it wide. offside. You know, there's often that debate about scripting, momentum, and handicap, and I've mentioned this many times before. I don't believe in scripting. I just can't believe it would be a thing, especially with the esports element. Momentum, yeah, it's a real thing, definitely should be in the game, but handicap, I don't believe in it, but there are some games like this where I certainly do question it, to say the very least. How did I only score 1? Well, there's literally no way we're going through. Absolutely no way. I know back in Season 1 we won a spot kicks in the FA Cup, but as I mentioned many times before, that's not fair. That badge is literally emitting light. It's putting my forward off. But saving penalties is so hard, because when you guess the right way, oftentimes you'll get nothing on the ball. But when they do, 9 times out of 10, they'll get something. And to me, that is why penalties need a bit of a revamp from EA. I'm not saying you should save it every time you go the right way, but the fact that, again, over half the time you do, you get nothing on it, it just seems unfair. Honestly, no words for this. Absolutely no words. We do get one there back through Buonanotte, but I need a save. And it's not looking likely. Oh, it is! That's one of the worst, like Saka against Real Madrid. You rarely see that, a chip to the side. Right, Steffi, if I balls this up now with a chance to get the leveller, which we don't. We deserve to be going through this tie. Payne, come on, yes, come on! But it's a really, really late way to do it, man. It should have been done in normal time, then it should be done in extra time, and in the end it's done on penalties. We deserved that. If we would have gone out on this round in this game, I would have been absolutely livid. Vic with the winner, Leicester through on the spot kicks. I very rarely win them. I'm buzzing when I do. And that'll do it for today's episode of the Realistic Criminal as well, guys. So big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, if you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. I'll return in the next one with more games in the Premier League, aiming to pull away from the bottom 3 and go into top 10 for the first time this season. More youth scouting and the FA Cup last 16, where we'll take on Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home. Have a great day. Much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.